It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and let's talk Eastern Eyre football now. Centrally United hit the highway over the weekend and took off down to Kimber. Oh, I guess you could say a neighbour of sorts. Joining me on the line, Jarrod Sampson to help us go through it. Sambo, how are you, mate?
Yeah, going well, mate. It's very wintry over here today. So, yeah, wind's up, chill factors there. So, yeah, that rain dance she did a month ago, she kicked into overdrive this last couple of weeks, mate. It's been fantastic.
Well, one look at that, me doing a rain dance, mate. Mother Nature just said, well, we better make sure that we don't see that again in a hurry.
She's it's been pleasant change, mate. We haven't seen rain like this. Well, in Woodner, I don't think for this month. They haven't seen rainfall of this quantity for a significant period of time. So it's fantastic to see the season turn around.
Well, that's good to hear. So now we've got that out of the way, let's have a look at the footy. And interesting game last week between your boys and Kimber Districts. So Centrally United did head to Kimber. And, you jumped them. You got the better of them in the first quarter. You were still right in the game at half-time and even at three-quarter time. But they just got hold of you in the end to run out winners, 14-11-95 to 6-3-39. Just couldn't put it on the scoreboard, Sambo, after quarter time.
No, we started exceptionally well, mate. We controlled the play in the first quarter, just couldn't put it on the scoreboard. So ball spent a fair whack of the quarter down our end of the ground. Had Squirt Winter out on the weekend, and his dip and pace around up forward leaves a pretty big hole. So the old injury curse struck again. So Stringers managed to pull his other hamstring, but at the same token, mate, we had the cattle out there. We just couldn't put it on the board, and then she had probably 5 minutes of footy in the second quarter towards the end of the half that just switched off, turned off channel, and you give Kimber 5 minutes of footy and they banged on probably 5 goals in that period and just turned the game on its head. So then you're chasing tail for the rest of the game.
Absolutely. And then when you've got a quality forward like Berger Fitzgerald just finishing off the good work from the midfield, I think he's finished with 9 of 14, makes it obviously difficult as well. So they're a very good footy side, Kimber Districts, no doubt about that. They're always around the mark in Eastern Eyre football, as you know, and doesn't look like this year's going to be any different.
So they've got some big ins to come into that. Kempy, obviously. So Sam Haskett wasn't there as well. So they're two guys have been doing the bulk of their ruck work, weren't playing on the weekend. So they're on the sidelines watching. So they're just a sleeping giant, mate. They're working and focused towards the end of the year, and I think of the teams we've played, they're the ones that we've really got to get home, do our work, and make sure we're up and about when we play them. Because for mine, they're the team to beat come the end of the year. They're such a polished side. They've put us away exceptionally well both times we've played them. For me, they're just rolling on at the moment. Firmly focused on that latter part of the year, getting ready for finals, and they're going to be tough for anyone to beat at the business end of the year.
Stars on every line. Kimber Districts, Berger Fitzgerald, as we said, with 9. Literally the only multiple goal kicker on the ground for both sides. Best for Kimber was Clements, Fitzgerald, Groundwater, and Maitland. Riley Maitland is a star. Waters, both the Waters boys, Bruce, Lim, and Fitzgerald named in the best for you boys. So good to see both the Waters boys playing good footy at the moment.
But they're just picked up where they left off a few weeks ago. So Corey Waters just every week leads in the front, particularly with some of the midfielders that have been missing footy through injury. Corey's carrying a pretty significant workload through the middle there, and he just continues to shine. So his footy's getting better and better as the year goes on. He's really enjoying the challenge of coming up against some of these quality midfielders and other teams. He's a competitive young fella, and coming up against the likes of Riley Maitland, your Jack Kenny, and so forth, he's really enjoying that challenge, and his footy's showing it. He's playing exceptional footy.
All right, the other A-grade match from the weekend was Ports taking on Cow, and it was the Ports crew 22-8-1-40 to Cow 8-8-56. Sid Masters booted 14 goals in this game, if you don't mind, and that's basically the margin. So, he was a star out of the goal square. Probably an expected win for Ports. Maybe the margin a little surprising there, Sambo?
Yeah, as we've discussed the last few weeks, mate, we just can't get a track on where Port's form line's at. You see the result on the weekend and they've just blown a side off the park. And then, not sure what the next week brings. So when they're on, they're extremely damaging side. They've got some big key forwards that Sid is a great example to put home 14 goals on the weekend. He's been threatening to tear a game apart at exceptional Mortlock Carnival. Yeah, obviously carried that form to the weekend, and solid forward that can pump them home from 55 out. Is once the ball's in his hands, you'd be pretty happy watching him have a shot on goal, that's for sure.
Definitely. Just to backtrack and head back to Kimber for a moment in some of the other grades, two really good games of footy we should put a highlight around. First of all, your boys in the Rezzies, 7-8-50 over Kimber Districts, 5-2-32. Any time you get a win in the Rezzies over Kimber Districts is a big deal. And your boys who came from behind at three-quarter time, you came from behind at half-time to get the job done.
Yeah, it was probably the opposite to what we saw in the A grade, mate. So Kimber got the jump on us pretty early and opened up a lead. Come half time, it sort of had a scratch on whether we could reel them in. But yeah, I think as we're seeing a few injuries disappear, we're getting a bit more depth about our squad. Got a few guys coming back into the B grade, and it just makes a big difference to the team. So I think if we can keep building, our B grade's going to be pretty competitive come the latter half of the year, and start to play some good footy. Coach is starting to get to know the boys and get them working well together. So good turnaround from the first time we played them. They jumped us the first game as well, but we just couldn't peg them back. But the weekend, they played a good game of footy, and it's good to see them get another win on the board.
Yep. In the Colts, Kimber won both. They won the juniors fairly comfortably, 6-5, 41 to 1 behind. But did we see a cracking game of football in the senior Colts? Not much in it between these two sides. Kimber District 6-11, 47. Ayr United 5-5. Central Ayr United, sorry. I've done it again. Central Ayr United 5-5, 35. So they jumped you guys in the first quarter in this game. After that, very even contest.
Definitely the best under 16 games I've watched for the year, mate. It was a credit to Megsy Enright and Bigsy what they did on the day. Both sides obviously short on a few numbers with Pedal Pre over in Murray Bridge, I think it is, for the weekend. So I had a few lads out, but they got their heads together during the week and put a real focus on getting a couple of teams out in the park that were extremely competitive. Which is a credit to them as opposition coaches to work through that. And it was a fantastic game of footy to watch. It's two evenly matched sides that really up to the last few minutes, it was the scores were level. So it could have gone either way. Just ball obviously going over the back. A couple of the Kimber lads capitalised and put the score on the board. So it'd be great to see that every single week, mate. It was fantastic to watch, and the kids got a lot out of it. So real credit to the two coaches there on the weekend. They put a lot of work into a good game of footy, and it was great to watch and see.
Good stuff. Let's move on now and have a look at what's coming up this weekend. We've got almost the perfect round, I reckon, in Eastern Eyre football, and it all starts at Kine Cutter with Ports heading up the highway to take on Central Ayr United. Third versus fourth on the A-grade ladder at the moment. I don't think there's much between you guys. Maybe Sid Masters out of the goal square could be the difference maker, but I'm sure you've got a plan on how to deal with that after watching Burger Kick 9 last week.
Don't let the ball get down there. It'd be a good start.
It's probably the best way of going about it. Yep.
We've come up against another key forward that's in some red-hot form. So his last month of footy's been pretty exceptional. It's going to be a pretty solid ask of whoever we've got back there taking the gig. But, this game will be it's going to be one in the midfield. If we can... If we got Jakey Bruce back playing some good footy now, Jake Sampson, the Waters boys, obviously. So if we can get on top and big pin, Grokey can give us an advantage in the ruck there. That's the way we'll curtail that Sid's dominance. I think if we can just keep the ball up half of the ground, that's going to be the key. Hopefully, we've got young Brad Lim back from Rossi for a couple of weeks, and we'll see whether Jacko Petty is home and is up in the A's, or he'll just play juniors. So, yeah, Brad gives us a good roaming target up forward. He's a tall, fit, strong fella. So, if we can find him more regularly, and him and Tyler Chapman, it'll definitely go a long way. So it was a cracking game when we played them last time. There wasn't much in it at Warrnambool. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. I think the two of our sides match up extremely well. It's just whoever controlled the midfield at the end of the day will be the one that comes home with a win.
Exactly right. Winter, will he be back for you boys?
Hopefully, mate.
Okay.
Yep, hopefully. I had a family show on the weekend over in Adelaide.
Yep.
So, yeah, hopefully it was just a week off, mate.
Makes a big difference to your forward line in terms of finishing off the good work from up the field. Yeah.
Absolutely, mate. He's probably one of the smallest men on the field, but he plays a good foot taller than what he stands. So, leaves a big hole in our forward line with his smarts in particular. Hopefully he's back in for the weekend. It just changes the structure of our forward line for sure.
Definitely. 6:10:46, 4:8:32 last time these two met at Warrnambool. Kind Cutter, change of venue. Central Eyre United still the hosts. You give yourselves every chance in this game. Ports will as well. I'm not sure who to tip here, to be quite honest. I think I might go against you, but not by much. There'll be nothing in this game, I don't think, at full time.
No, hopefully you've put the mods on them, mate. It seems to be.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Every time I've tipped them, they've lost, and every time I've tipped against them, they've won. So yeah, it's been a hard one to track. I'm just hopeful they're due for another week off. Fingers crossed.
And with Cal having the bye, that can mean only one thing: 1 versus 2 on the ladder. Kimber Districts taking on the Eastern Rangers. So I've got no doubt you'll be keeping an eye on the scores of that game as well, because I don't think there'll be much in that one.
No, absolutely. I was only looking at the ladder just earlier this evening too, and they're nearly identical on points. I think Rangers were 616 points for, Kimber was 615 for, and points against, it was a matter of 5 points of difference as well. So, they've touched everyone up along the way. I think the key will be whether the two have still got their ruckman out. But yeah, both of their sides, their key ruckmen have been injured of late. So we've got a couple more weeks off after this weekend. So it's just a matter of whether it's take the risk and put them back on the park this week, or keep them out and wrap them up in cotton wool and another few weeks out and get them cherry ripe at the end of the year, because both clubs are firmly focused on that final of the year, I'd imagine. That'll go a long way.
It's a good point, because you get a couple of weeks off for Kinlow and then the country champs, don't you, through that school holiday period? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's so we've spoken about buys during the year. Buys have been great, but around this time of year, it's an absolute nightmare. Stubbornness with country champs and not allowing us to play footy on that weekend is frustrating, particularly with Kinlow and Pedler Cup being a big part of the EP fixture. We need a weekend for that, and unfortunately it results in us having a couple of weeks off, and then couple that with a bye not long afterwards. I think we'll have 2 games in 5-6 weeks of footy. It is what it is, but it is frustrating that the country champs can have such an impact over here when we have these traditional fixtures in Kinlow and Pedler Cup that are pretty important for our junior development, and big fixtures on our calendar that we sort of get pushed aside and over the West Coast forgotten about a bit, and it impacts clubland footy because of it, but it is what it is.
Fair enough too. All right. Well, mate, we'll leave it there. All the best for your boys, Centrally United this weekend, and to everyone having a kick and a catch in Eastern Eyre footy. Wishing you all the best. Sambo, batten down the hatches, mate, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Sounds good, mate. Look forward to it. Talk to you next week.